Hey, you guys. Please forgive my voice. I've been sick with the flu, like most of, or half of America anyway. But I wanted to talk to you guys tonight because it's a subject that's really important. And I didn't want to let it wait because I know today is a big football day and a lot of people have company over. So if you'll bear with me with my poor little voice. I've been in bed for over a week and it's been pretty miserable, but I think I'm on the other side of it now. So the only thing that has left to go is my voice. But what I wanted to talk to you about tonight was that I got a call from a friend who's also a client. And first you need to know that not only do I have this person's permission to speak with you guys about this incident, but she also urged me to talk to others about it. So no names will be involved, obviously, but it's something that is really important that I've spoken about before, but my heart is really hurting tonight over this incident, and I want to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. So these friends of mine are people that entertain very frequently. They're wonderful people. They've been my friends for over 20 years, and they live locally here. And they have a dog that's an insecure dog. They rescued her when she was probably maybe 2 years old. They weren't really sure what was going on with her, why she was so skittish, but you know, it is what it is. And as you know, we don't always know what happens to dogs when they come from rescue. We don't even know how dogs that are picked up from breeders when they're 6 to 8 weeks old, how they become unbalanced or have issues. We can say the same thing about people. You can have kids, 4 siblings in a family, and every one of them is different and have different issues or non-issues, and yet they've all been parented by the same people in the same environment with the same circumstances and the same sort of morals and so on and so forth. So we don't know. So that's the issue. Then becomes, how do we deal with this dog based on how the dog is presenting himself and what his issues are. So our responsibility as people and as dog owners is to advocate for the dog's safety and for, of course, any human, any child, any adult, anybody that's around us, okay? It's all the same. We have to be responsible. After all, we made a decision to go out and choose this dog, decide to either rescue the dog, purchase the dog, take the dog, however you want to look at it, doesn't matter. Once this dog comes into our lives, it's our responsibility to protect and direct that dog. So my friends, again, also my clients, but my friends had brought the dog to me for rehabilitation because the dog was not only bad with, not trustworthy out of fear issues with humans, but also not trustworthy with other dogs. And so we worked through the dog issue really quickly. The dog just needed to be exposed to a pack, and she's been amazing ever since she's gone back to her home. She doesn't react when she sees other dogs on the street. She can go into play groups that are, you know, not dog parks, but I don't advocate for dog parks, but into play groups with other friends, and she's fine, but she's still skittish around people. Now, this is a big football day today, right? So a lot of people are entertaining, and my friends are both amazing cooks, and they have parties all the time. And what I've instructed them is that when you have people over, since your dog is uncomfortable around new people, the best choice to make, okay, and this is after a month-long rehabilitation with me, a board and train with me. The dog had come so far, but you know, you're not going to change an adult dog all the way any more than you're going to change a person to where certain triggers don't affect them. So I said, in the best interest of the dog and your friends, it's probably better to put the dog in a safe place during the short period of time that you're going to be entertaining. So let's say at the most, someone entertains even 4 times a month, or every Friday, every Saturday, you have a party, right? And so you have a party, you have people over, which is, I mean, most of us don't entertain that much. But let's say you're just this Martha Stewart type person and you have friends over all the time. So every Friday there's a party at your house. Every Friday there's great food at your house. Every Friday there's alcohol at your house, okay? So you've got a dog that's a little sketchy with other dogs and sketchier with other people. So what would be the problem with just putting your dog in a position where he or she can't fail, okay? The dog does not enjoy being around other people, first of all. So there's no real benefit to leaving the dog out with your friends and saying that, well, I'll keep an eye on him, because the dog's not having fun anyway. So you know how you feel when you have to be forced to go to an environment or some sort of social event and you don't feel like being nice. I mean, I'm a nice person. I love people. But there are times when I'm tired and I'm just not, I just don't want to do it. And if I do it, I do it and I'm nice. But sometimes I would rather be home reading a good book or going to bed early rather than having to be in a social situation where I have to make small talk with people. And I know you guys all know what I'm talking about, because there's not a person on the planet that doesn't feel that way sometimes. So here you have the dog. It's not comfortable with other people, doesn't enjoy the camaraderie of other people, and yet the person insists that the dog will be fine. A lot of times we have these sort of romantic notions that our dogs should be a part of our life no matter what, a part of our social life, a part of our, should be good with our neighbors' dogs. The dog park, excuse me, should be great in the lobby of the vet's office, should be great with your relatives that come over. But that's not reality for many of us, maybe most of us. It's not the reality any more than it is for us, that we're comfortable with every single person in every single scenario of every part of life, okay? So then why are we so insistent that our dogs have to be that way? Okay, when you stop and think about it, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. So my advice to my friends was, why not just put the dog in their crate, which they're comfortable in, right? That the dog has been taught to go to, any dog that comes and does a board and train with me is going to be crate trained in very short order. And they love it. Every single time a client argues with me that dogs don't like crates, I convince them of the opposite by the time they come and pick their dogs up, because dogs do love crates. So why not crate your dog? After all, let's say you entertain 4 times a month, every Friday night. How long are your guests there? From 5:36 until 10, right? 5 hours at the most. Your dog can't be away from your guest 5 hours. That's a total of 20 hours in 1 month. I mean, come on. Your dog can handle that. You can handle that. And that way you can sit around and have fun with your friends. You can have a drink. You can prepare food without having to worry every time you turn around. Where's the dog? Is the dog biting someone? Is the dog nervous? Is the dog okay? So you've advocated properly for your dog. If you make a place for your dog to go where he's going to be comfortable and enjoy his evening as much as you're going to enjoy your evening with your guest. So here's what happened tonight. I'll come to the sweet spot of the video right now. So what happened was that some of her adult friends decided to bring their children. So the children wanted to go see the dog, and the dog was actually in their bedroom, and his crate was in there, but he wasn't in the crate. And so, you know, there's a lot of fun going on. People aren't really focused. And my client said, oh yeah, sure, just dog's, you know, loose in the bedroom. You can go see the dog, figuring that the kids would know what to do. It was the first mistake. So they go in there, and of course, a little bit of time passes, a few minutes pass, and all of a sudden, one of the kids comes out crying. There's a good ending to this, so don't hang up on me, because this actually ends okay. Not great, but okay. Nobody's going to be put down, nothing like that. One of the kids comes running out, and his hand is bitten by this dog, little dog. Nonetheless, child's been traumatized. The dog's been traumatized. The whole evening has been traumatized because my clients and my dear friends did not advocate properly for their dog, okay? So what happened after they found out all the details was that the kids went in there to play, wanted to play with the dog. My clients were so busy entertaining their guests that they didn't stop to think that maybe this wasn't a good idea. And what happened was that the dog tried to get away from them over and over again, but he was in the confines of a room and he couldn't get away from them. Finally, he went into his crate, which is what he was trained to do, right? I train my dogs to go to safe places, to their place, to my side, or to their crate. Anyone who's trained with me, mentored with me, workshopped with me, whatever, been my client or my student, knows that this is a biggie for me. Those are the 3 places where my dog is always safe. But the dog went into the crate thinking that this is where I can be safe, but the gate wasn't latched. The dog's just in there, and now he's backed in there. So the kids go in and try to get the dog out. You know the end of the story. They put their hand in there. The dog can't go into flight. This is what you have to understand. The dogs go into fight or flight, or avoidance or submission. But in this case, dog didn't have many options because the dog is trapped in a crate. So when the kids put their hand in there, the dog had no other option except to go into fight, or in this case, bite. He didn't do it because he was a bad dog. He didn't do it because he wanted to hurt a child. He did it because he was insecure and fearful, and he hadn't been given any other option except that option. You see? Fortunately, for my clients, and for the dog, and for everyone involved, their friends whose child was bitten, he wasn't bitten badly enough to have to go to urgent care, hospital, or anything like that, but it did draw blood. But fortunately, they're very good friends. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to report the dog. Everybody's really sorry about it. The first thing they did was call me, excuse me, and we did a conference call together. But here's the problem. Here's what we can't fix, is that that child will always have that history of a bad experience with a dog, right? And we all know people, even as adults, that say, I know dog trainers that became dog trainers because they had a bad experience with a dog when they were young, and they wanted to get over it because they were traumatized by dogs. Every time they saw them, they were afraid of them. So the child had an experience that he didn't have to have. The guest had an experience they didn't have to have. And my clients and friends feel horrible about the whole thing. And it pretty much messed up a nice evening, obviously, with football and food and wine. Always keep in mind as well, if you're having wine or drinks or anything else that's going to alter your perception or your balance psychologically, which was, let's face it, when you drink because you like the feeling of it. I'm not judging or anything like that. I'm just saying the reality of it is that when you drink, you're not fully in control, especially if you drink a lot. I'm going to go in a minute. That's the main point I want to make. But my voice isn't going, so I love you guys. Hope I made a good point. Bye.